Right, let's do question 4. 4.1. In 2015, Kiyotomete participated in the Oakland Marathon and the San Francisco Marathon. The graphs indicated the height above sea level of the Oakland and San Francisco marathons are shown below. Okay, so basically this graph over here shows you the height above sea level, right? So this one here is Oakland, so you can see there's Oakland, and then this one over here is San Francisco. As always, if you're looking at a graph and you're like, hey, I don't know what's going on, use some color, right? And actually color in the different things so that you can see which sort of line you're looking at. Here's the distance in miles. Okay, that is an American measurement, and it makes sense because Oakland and San Francisco are in the States. And then the height above sea level, this is in feet. Okay. Right, so let's now look at the questions and see what we need to do. Okay, so don't forget about things like little notes, right? We're probably going to have to use this, but let's go from here. Okay, use the graph above to answer the following questions. 4.1.1, show by calculation that 1 mile is equivalent to 1760 yards. Okay, so you're probably thinking, what on earth? Because we have 1 foot here, we don't have any yards, what's going on? Well, look here, 26,21875 miles equals 26 miles plus this many yards. So this many yards correlates to that many miles. Okay, so now we need to work out what 1 mile is. So let's start in steps. Okay, which is always a good place to start. Students often get quite like angsty about things like this because they don't immediately know what to do, and then they're like, oh, I'm just not going to do anything. Just write down what's there, right? So do you see here, I said, okay, I'm going to take out the 26 miles. I don't care about those. We're just going to say that many yards, that many miles. And now we're going to try and get this side into 1 mile. Okay, so this is actually like a little ratio. Okay, so here's 1. I want to get this side to 1 mile. Now, how do I get from there to there, right? Well, anything divided by itself is 1. So I'm going to divide this side by this. And what I do to the one side, I'm going to do to the 21875. I'm going to do to the other side, right? Because that's how we work with ratios. So let's go and put that into our calculator. So we say 385 divided by 0.21875. Put that in, and that is this many yards. And that's quite handy because that is exactly what we needed to prove. So we've done what they asked us to do, right? So let's now go into the next question. It says, determine the approximate distance in miles from the start of the San Francisco Marathon to where the height above sea level rises steeply for the first time. Okay, the big thing you need to do here is they want San Francisco. They don't want the Oakland. So San Francisco is this solid line here. And we can see that it kind of rises around, goodness, it's like around 5-ish, but it says to determine the approximate distance from the start to where the height above sea level rises steeply for the first time. So it's kind of there, if that makes sense, because that's where it starts rising. So that's the end of that steep rise, but it wants to know that there. Okay, now that's in between 4 and 5, so I'm going to say 4.5. You can kind of say anything between 4.3 and 4.8, but 4.5 kind of makes sense. And it's not just 4.5 anything, it's 4.5 miles. So don't forget, please. Oh goodness, I've moved my whole answer. Please don't forget to make sure that you write that out, because students often forget their units, and units tell us what we're talking about. Okay, let's look at the next one. It says calculate the maximum height above sea level in meters, right? So that's why it's a little bit more from a mark allocation perspective for Oakland Marathon. Now it says maximum. So the maximum here, remember Oakland is this dotted line. The maximum here is 700 feet. Now, that's fine in feet, right? So you're going to write that down first. You can say, okay, wonderful, we did a good job. 700 feet, but it asks for it in meters. How do we convert this to meters? Well, 1 foot equals 0.3038 meters. Okay, that was given. So over here, I'm going to times this side by 700, right, to get to 700 feet. And what I do to the one side, I have to do to the other side. So now I'm going to take that amount and I'm going to also times it, right? By, not 400, by 700. And it is 212.66 meters. And there's your answer. right? So you see how we're doing this all quite logically, all quite sort of slowly, and that's how we do it. A big thing here is ratios, okay? And students do struggle with ratios, so make sure that you understand this. Last question for this video. An Oakland Marathon participant stated that the first 10 miles had been the most difficult, but thereafter it was much easier. Lovely. Give a possible reason for this participant's statement. Now, Oakland is the dotted one. So we see with Oakland, you go uphill, you go uphill, you go uphill. And then from 10, right? It's all downhill, which is lovely, right? So why is it easier? Well, it's all downhill. We know that running downhill is easier, right? So you can say it is uphill until 10 miles and downhill thereafter, right? So we've done that. So you can say, well, running uphill is harder or more difficult, okay? And there's your reason. And we are done. They only asked for one reason. We're done with our question. Let's move on to the next one.